Hello, you guys. I'm Vicky Mithi once again, and I know what you're thinking. Oh no, she got worse quality equipment, if that's even possible. But yes, here I am with my bad equipment. Okay, so that intro was basically to uh, get you into the video because I have many things to tell you, and it's not that I changed my old equipment or anything. It's just that I just wanted to sit on my bed. I've been tired these days, and I wanted to be out of the computer. I wanted to be outside of the computer, if that's even possible again. But yeah, apparently it is. And now I'm recording a video in my bed, which it's really nice for a change. And I do everything on my computer really. I work in my computer, I make videos in my computer, I study in my computer, I do freelancing jobs in my computer, everything in the computer. So I'm fucking tired of that fucking computer. Now, yeah, I wanted to be in my bed. And honestly, this is nice. It feels nice. I feel totally comfortable. But I have to look for ways that look better for my quality videos, like for the quality of my videos, because for my quality streak. So yeah, I will look for ways to record videos on my bed and finding a way they can look better. I don't know, maybe find something more portable, because right now I have this fucking computer, which is nice, but even though it's a laptop, it's hard for me to move it because my microphone is installed there. Basically, my webcam is installed there. They are all USB cables, so I can't really move it as much as I would want to because it would be a mess. So, anyways, never mind. The thing I wanted to talk about had nothing to do with the computer, with me recording in my phone, or anything like that. I wanted to talk to you because I finally finished the 6 seasons of What We Do in the Shadows. And I also watched the long film, and I watched the short film a bit, and I had opinions to share with you guys. Well, let me tell you that the show, I fucking loved it. It was something that came into me accidentally because I originally wanted to watch every show that was ever nominated to the Emmys. And What We Do in the Shadows back then was the show that I was the least interested in, because it was a show about vampires, and it was really weird. And I thought it was about people in a Halloween party that went totally wrong. And honestly, I wasn't even that bad. I mean, it is kind of a Halloween party gone wrong. And at the end of the day, I looked it up and I understood this was a mockumentary, and I was totally invested. And I watched the whole show in less than a month, maybe 2 weeks and a half. It took me at least 2 weeks and a half to finish the whole 6 seasons of What We Do in the Shadows. Wow, I'm addicted. Now, that's not the worst part. The worst part is that I finished the show and I'm currently watching it again. And these 2 days, in these 2 days, I've seen the whole first season. It's really nice. It is really nice. What's funny is that I've watched the first episode, like the pilot. I've watched it at least four times because the first time that I watched this pilot, I was falling asleep because I was like very very tired from my job and it was very late. But I wanted to watch this show. I was very intrigued and I almost fell asleep. And the next day, I watched it again to see what parts I had missed. And then in another time, I watched it with another person who told me he was interested in watching What We Do in the Shadows. However, when we were watching the pilot, he fell asleep, and I understood, like, okay, maybe it's not his humor. Totally fine. Then I watched it again recently when I was watching the whole show again. I'm watching the whole show again, you guys. So basically, I hope that it's understood that I fucking love this show. And yeah, it became one of my fixations. And I have many. I don't know if I'm neurodivergent. I don't know if I have ADHD. I don't know if I have autism. To be honest, I have never checked. I have never gotten tested. But when I was a child, I would watch Cats every day. And if I didn't watch it for a day, I felt like the world was destroying itself. We were in an apocalypse if I didn't watch Cats. And when I say Cats, I'm referring to the musical that was recorded in the 90s, not the one in 2019. I'm referring to the musical that was recorded in theaters in the 90s. And they sold this as a VHS and then as a DVD, and I watched Cats from the 90s uh, every day. I was really obsessed. I had a really bad fixation in Cats, and now as an adult, I have this fixation in What We Do in the Shadows. Well, how did it end? I loved the end. I have to say that I. Oh, you've never seen my nails up close. They are Halloween themed, and as you can see, this is a spider web. Okay, so how did I perceive? How did I like the last episode or the final season? I gotta say, it was honestly perfect because everything started to get into a perfect place. Like everything was finding its own place. Honestly, it was nice for Guillermo to finally have a job that's different from the vampires, that's different from being a familiar. I know he's still very dependent on them while he was doing this new job, but he was at the same time finding his own life, which made me really happy for Guillermo. And it was sad that he had to let this new job go because he found out that he was basically doing or repeating the same pattern that he had with Nandor, and this was a toxic pattern. And to see him break the cycle was I was really proud of him. And honestly, it felt close to home because right now I'm going through I think a thing like this at my job. So I'm getting inspired with Guillermo and saying bye bye to these toxic patterns, and hopefully I can find a new job. Please pray for me for that I can have a new job that is beautiful and that pays well. Amen. Now, Nandermo, you know, I mean, I think the showrunners have been pushing Nandermo since the beginnings of time. Even in the pilot, you can see the glimpse of ship material with Nandermo. And at the end of the day, I'm glad it didn't happen because I think the relationship is not even a romantic one. And it's like one of those memes that says, uh, are they lovers? No, worst. Well, that's how I feel about Nandermo. They are not lovers, they are worst. So I found I found it really great that Guillermo had to develop to develop he had to develop a healthier relationship with Nandor because at the end of the day he's basically his family. He's been with him throughout 16 years. So this evolution in the relationship was satisfying. And seeing other characters, for example, Nadja and Lazlo, growing as a couple was really tender and sweet. And seeing Nadja um, get rid of her, let's say, tough persona was really nice. She was often defensive and like with a mask, but in this season, we could see her being more genuine to her feelings, and that's really nice. And honestly, the Laszlo arc where he out to be a crazy scientific man, like the crazy teacher, I ate it up. I ate it up, and I love the new monster he created. It was really funny, and it gave him more of a personality, which I wish I had seen this just 2 seasons before the final season. Like, I would have loved to see him develop into this crazy lab dude uh, for a longer time. That's what I'm trying to say. And then I loved the Colin Robinson arc where he dies when he is 100 years old, melts, and he repeats his life again. Honestly, 10 out of 10. And guess what? I honestly loved when he went around saying, "But Laszlo, guess what? Laszlo, guess what?" That's amazing. And I mean, the Lazlo and Nadja exploitation of little Colin Robinson was really funny. It reminded me of many cases like Shirley Temple, Michael Jackson, and Luis Miguel, many artists that have been exploited by their parents, and for Laszlo to be sad that Colin Robinson doesn't remember it and growing a certain kind of love for Colin Robinson, it's brilliant because you'd never imagine these vampires developing feelings for anyone, even less for Colin Robinson. But turns out they still have some little human left in them. And Nandor trying to give a sermon, to give a speech to teenage Colin Robinson, he's amazing. And yeah, Laszlo then being disappointed about Colin Robinson not remembering anything, brilliant. Also, it reminded me of my wait a minute, it's not an earthquake. It's just that I had a hair in my mouth. Okay, then I remember this Colin Robinson arc reminded me with of me, of anyone with our own parents when they tell us some funny stories and we're like, oh, that's nice. And then they tell us like, oh, you were there. Don't you remember? And we're like, no, I was really little. And they're like, come on, that was the best day of our lives. And we're like, sorry. I don't remember anything. That's basically what happened with Colin Robinson and Lazlo. And honestly, I would have loved to see more of this dynamic with Nadja and her being more involved with the racing of Colin Robinson. But I was more stuck or more obsessed with Nadja's arc with her toy that has the soul of her human form. And that made me want a doll. That really made me want a doll. I already have a pet and I love him, but I want a doll that looks like me, thinks like me, and I can role play thinking that I am having a conversation with someone as amazing as me. However, where I grew up, this thing is called voodoo and it's very dangerous. And if you are spiritually conscious, you would know what I'm talking about. Never do dolls that look like you, and never accept dolls that look like you if people give them to you. Don't do that. That's very weird. I know that in America they have American dolls, but in Caribbean countries, that's not good. That's not a good signal. It's often used in witchcraft, to put it simply. And yeah, that's basically Latin America for you. We are all about magic realism. And you may think it's weird, but it's what we will live in. And don't give us those that look like us. So I started wanting a pet, not a pet, a doll, not one that looks like me, but just a pet that I can hug. But I wanted one that looks like a bat from build a bear.com. But since it's October, it's already sold out. It's a pity. And then I also wanted the Ozzy Osbourne merch one. Ozzy Osbourne had stuffed animal which was part of his merch, which is a bat, and you can rip his head off. It's head off because it's a reference on of what Ozzy did in one of his concerts, and I wanted it, but apparently it's sold out as well. Of course, he just passed away, and everybody wants a piece of him. And then it's October, so no, it's like 25, the 25 of October, and I can't get my bad stuffed animal, not even for Halloween. But at least I got to watch the whole season of What We Do in the Shadows. And yeah, and honestly, I also enjoyed the addition as a fixed cast member of the guide. The guide was great. I thought it was genius that she never told us her name. She was just the guide. And it made everything greater. I was a bit concerned because by the last episodes of the last season, I thought the showrunners were trying to push the nandor plus the guide narrative, and that ship was honestly very weird because they never interacted in that direction, and I thought it was a little bit forced. But then when the guide rejected another, I was relieved because it was really, really forced. It reminded me of when Joy tried to get with um with Rachel from Friends. It was really weird, forced, and did not make sense at all. And I'm so glad the showrunners were just trying to mess with us. And the perfect ending was, of course, the ending with Nandor and Guillermo, and Nandor waking up and telling Guillermo it was all a dream, mocking modern TV shows. I know. I then knew. I did not know at first. I thought that this was a general ending, a general hypnosis scene, but no. Turns out that not just hypnosis has many versions, and I did not know this. And honestly, I didn't bother to watch the other ones. I will watch the other ones once I finish with my second round of watching this show. But I stuck with the Nandor and Guillermo Nightmare one for my first round. And now I will tell you a little bit about the long form film I watched about What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah, the one with the main producers as the cast. And yeah, okay, so I didn't find this film anywhere. So I'm sorry, Taika Waititi, if you're watching this. I'm sorry, Jermaine Clements, if you're watching this. I did not find this film anywhere, so I had to pirate it. I'm sorry. Um, but I don't think it would affect you in any way. I'm sorry. But yeah. What did I think? I got very excited because it was like realizing that I was watching everything upside down. I should have started with this movie instead of the show, but the show made me enjoy the movie even more. Probably if I watched the movie first, I wouldn't understand much of it. And I got very excited when at the beginning of the movie you hear the song that says "You're dead, you're dead, you're dead." I got really really excited because I thought this was only for the TV show. I didn't know this was also made for the movie or put on the movie. And I always I always say I'm going to Google this song. Like, did they write this song for this franchise, or is this song already out? Was already out there, or I don't know. And well, I got to say, I realized that Taika's vampire Viago had many similarities with Nandor, but at the same time, the same similarities are also the things he's different. I mean, they are as similar as they are different. Like the same amount of similarities and the same amount of differences. Nandor and Viago, they have this really thick accent, like me, honestly. But I rather you think I'm a vampire than you discriminating me for being an immigrant. But I realized, yes, they both have this thick European accent, and they are both really dumb, and they are different in the aspect of Viago being really sweet or trying to be really sweet, and Nandor being totally just a himbo. He just tries to do everything in a monarchic way, in an authoritarian way, but nobody listens to him because he doesn't represent any threats. And he's not sweet, he just pretends to be tough, but he's just cute. And I think they share that similarities and differences. Also Laszlo's and which was Jermaine's vampire name? Vladislav. Okay, so Lazlo and Vladislav do share some stuff as well. Lazlo and Vladislav are both perverts, And I don't know, they just look similar in the way they use their eyes to act as vampires, but maybe Laszlo is more centered and Vladislav is just all over the place mentally. Then we have Deacon, which I couldn't find any similarities with him and Nadja, and honestly, that made me admire and respect Natasha or Natasha Dimitru even more because she found her own colors in such a settled franchise that her character it's made from zero basically. Maybe she got inspiration of course from other vampires, but she stands on her own, and that's really impressive. And I could see also many glimpses of plots in episodes of What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show, and it got me really excited because it motivated me to think about me and my future projects that yeah, maybe this is a sketch now, but maybe in some years if I keep working on this I could transform it into something bigger, and this would stay as an evidence of my dedication. And yeah, this franchise made me motivated if anything, and I'm watching it again my with a happy heart again, and I would watch this show like 5 times if I could, or even more. And it would be nice if it had like a final movie with all the new cast and the old cast, but maybe that's being too greedy. I loved the ending, and it's perfect like that. And the short, I couldn't watch it because I was very distracted by everything else. I was just like, okay, this is a school project, maybe. But the fun part was when they go out on the streets, and honestly, it made me realize how old this was. I'm sorry, Jermaine and Taika, you are old AF because they were walking on the streets and well dressed as vampires, and people were telling them the F word. So nowadays it would be unacceptable. I know that in New Zealand it's not like the same as in America. It's maybe it's not as cancelable, but it's still politically incorrect and very. It's a very heavy topic, and you shouldn't be saying the F word around, and especially if you're not part of the community and whatsoever. So I found that really interesting. And also, yeah, that's it. That also reminded me of my hometown because everybody in my hometown complains that everyone dresses the same. However, when someone dresses differently, they always get discriminated and bullied. Still in 2025, it's really weird to have curly hair, which is funny because most of the people in my hometown we have curly hair, but you get bullied if you don't straighten it, and it's really sad to be honest. But well, I hope New Zealand is doing better in terms of society issues. I don't know, social issues. That's a better term, social issues. But well, that's it for today. I can't keep going. My idea was to list just some points I wanted to make and then record a video about it because that way I can speak more fluently. But I did not do it, and I just wanted to get done with the video already. I just wanted to talk. I was just motivated to talk, so I grabbed my phone, grabbed this funny microphone and started recording. Now, this was a mess again. My English was very bad, but not as bad as my previous video. So I'm sorry for that. I'm trying to improve. I will make a pinky promise to you, to my zero watchers, but next week I will try to first of all stick to an accent. Maybe, I don't know. Second of all, uh, have a script where I can follow it and be more fluent with my ideas. And third, maybe it would be better if I do a video with better quality. I don't know, I just want to do these videos to vent, but maybe it would be nice if at least it had very better quality, at least in the content of it. Well, thank you so much for watching my video, and I see you soon. Bye.